Wanted to share this interaction from our TikTok channel about this guy who's really upset that certain places offer either discounts or passes for families of autism. This specifically was Legoland, and really we're just talking about how you can get a disability pass. They offer some other opportunities, and then there's some discounts through Merlin's Magic Wand organization. And this account came on, and he said he is just absolutely sick of people bending over backwards for families of autism. Here was my reaction to his comment.
Well, autism families, Joe here is not a fan. He's not a fan of us. The world is bending over backwards. Real quick, the idea of this video, as you read his response, was simply this. You can go to Legoland. They offer a disability pass, so families with autism, you can move around the park a little bit quicker. I believe there's some opportunities to jump in line, depending on how your child is adjusting to the park and all the sensory things. Well, Joe thinks it's totally unfair that the world is bending over backwards for families of autism. So it's a disability pass, and as far as the discounts go, that's through Merlin's Magic Wand organization. That is a private organization. They depend on donations from private people. So I don't know what's being taken out of Joe's pocket for a family of autism to get a pass to move through the park a little bit quicker. That's from Legoland. And then maybe some vouchers or free tickets from a private organization and private donations. But Joe is really upset about it. He's not a fan. I guess if you have a child who's 5, 6, 7, 10, 18, 20, isn't potty trained, many of these families, we don't leave our house as often as we can. Some never go on vacation. And so an opportunity to go to like a Legoland with a setup like this, to get your family out, to enjoy a day, to have some fun, I guess for some people it's totally unfair. I actually had to read this like 3 times. First off, because he uses commas like crazy. Like he uses commas. He's allergic to periods, but he loves commas. So that kind of was tripping me out a little bit. But the other side of it was really just like the context of what he was saying, how like it's totally unfair and he's fed up with it. But you know what they say, never interrupt somebody while they're showing you who they really are. So feel free to leave Joe some words of encouragement in the comments. I certainly hope Joe has a better... It's interesting because like Joe's obviously not a special needs dad, which Joe, man, you don't, this is tough, bro. So, but like you're not dealing with it, but your reaction of not dealing with it is to get up in the morning and get on social media and just trash everybody who is dealing with it. That's wild, man.
So is Joe the same kind of guy that complains when, let's just use this example, the one he commented on, you go to an amusement park and you don't have a special pass, you have to wait in the same line as everybody else, and your child is not adjusting well, sensory stuff going on, maybe a meltdown, outbursts, noises, flapping, the whole thing. But then Joe's the same guy that goes, man, my time was ruined at this amusement park, whatever, with my family because of this, and this. So then the amusement park goes, listen, let's make this easier for everybody, a better experience for everybody, children with autism and their families, children without autism and their families. We can move you along. We can get you in front of the ride. We can identify sensory markers in different parts of the park, different rides and stuff like that. So which one is it? Like, which one is it? Or is it just like, hey, your child has autism, you can't come here? Is that what he wants? And the other thing, too, that's interesting is, you see comments from people like this, too, and it's like, you have to kind of evaluate what are they out, right? Like, if you're a fan of capitalism, this is a private organization, it's a private business. They've made this decision. Most people should agree we should allow private business to make their own decision. They should be allowed to do what they want to do. They've made the decision that they are going to help along special needs families throughout the park with these passes. Then there are other organizations that are going to provide discounts or financial waivers for maybe the tickets, maybe parking. I've seen gas through Merlin's Magic Wand organization. Again, a separate private foundation. No money is out of Joe's pocket. He's not out anything at all before you showed up to the park. And it's really bizarre. This is completely unfair. But then you look at the people who are using this, the parents. I would use this. And I made the example in the Tik Tok response of, you talk about unfair, but a 5, 6, 7-year-old who's not potty trained, again, 13, 14, 20, 25, whatever, sensory things such as noises and feelings and crowds that could send a child into a meltdown. So when we really start talking about the word unfair, let's really break down what's actually unfair. What's actually unfair. And I think the thing that got me most, and I really was, while I was doing the response, I remember kind of that saying, never interrupt somebody when they're showing you who you really are. And I think more people could really learn from that, because everybody wants to cut people off and say, shut up, don't say that. You're not supposed to be saying that. It's like, but wait a minute. Let's just see who they are. Like, don't tell people what they can and can't say. Let's see who they are. We all say we want to see if you're real and you're authentic and whatever. So let's see it. But it's just interesting that a guy who isn't dealing with all of this stuff, has no understanding of what it's about, was inspired to get on social media and write this about a video that was only trying to help families of autism to give an option to get out of the house, to experience some fun, and not just for the child of autism, but for the siblings. I always say that your children with autism, they need a special needs parent, but their siblings, they need a non-special needs parent. They need that time that's non-special needs based. So it's just interesting that his perspective was, let me just go and tear these people down. Even though I'm not dealing with any of this stuff, let me go and tear them down. How dare you get a disability pass to move around the park, maybe skip the line. It's not fair. Bending over backwards. So that you can have a little more freedom around the park, so that things can be labeled, so you won't be, possibly sent into a meltdown, and all the stress that brings to the parents and the other people in the park. I mean, I think Legoland made a pretty good decision here. It's like, let's improve the experience for everybody. But I thought it was important to share this, and maybe Joe was just having a bad day, but I thought it was important to share so that everybody kind of has an awareness of, I think that there are organizations and private companies that are really starting to try to do things to help. Now, some may say this is sick. He says he's sick of people bending over backwards, and it's not fair. But it's good that these organizations are trying to help. It's good that they're trying to improve the experience for everybody. When we're in this situation and there's a meltdown or things get uncomfortable, I do feel bad for other families. I mean, I do. I know it's not easy to watch. I know they didn't go there for that. So I do appreciate organizations like this doing that stuff. We also need to have a pretty good acute awareness that there are people like this who say, hey, I really don't care what you're going through. You shouldn't get anything special treatment. There should be no special treatment. Disability pass, waiver of income, anything, special parking, things like that. So I share that with you for just an understanding of who we're working with and what we're dealing with.